Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level ESL lesson. Today we're going to be learning compound nouns and also looking at modals of permission and necessity. So how often do you use public transportation? And we have a timeline here all the way from frequently to infrequently. So I work downtown, but I never take public transportation. I ride my bike, so that would be down here at 0. I use the local trains twice a day, 5 days a week. I like to read while going to and from the office. That would be up here more than once a day. In my city, people use shared taxis to go almost everywhere since the public transportation options aren't very good. So again, more infrequently. You can use the Oyster card in London on most public transportation. If you want to get on a bus in your city, how do you do it? Do you use a card like the Oyster card? Can you buy a ticket on board the bus? And do you have to buy a ticket before getting on the bus? And you can answer these questions in the comments if you'd like to start some conversation. So public transportation around the world. Have you ever visited these cities and what is the transportation like? Vancouver, Canada, Bangkok, Thailand, London, England, Stockholm, Sweden, or Budapest, Hungary. And again, if you visited or live in any of these cities, you can comment about the public transportation in the comments. All right, London's double-decker red buses are almost as famous, and they can take you everywhere, almost as famous as the London Underground. So you can pause the video, read this on your own, and then restart when you're ready to answer the questions. London, England is famous for its red double-decker buses. In London, you can't pay your bus fare with cash. You have to use a prepaid travel card. Once you touch your travel card on the card reader, you can make unlimited bus trips for the next hour without paying again. So are you allowed to pay with cash? No. What do you have to use to pay for a bus trip? The prepaid travel card. And you have to place your card on a machine. What is the machine called? It's called a card reader. So English has a lot of compound nouns, and you already know some of them. Compound nouns are two words placed together. They are usually noun plus noun, noun plus an ing verb, or ing verb plus a noun. So card reader, bus trip, ticket inspector, bus fare, traffic jam, in rush hour. So all of these are examples of compound nouns. So now you can pause the video, read the text, or follow along as I read, and then answer the questions. In Vancouver, Canada, you can either use a travel card to pay for a bus fare, or you can use cash. If you pay with cash, you have to use the exact change in coins. You can't use a $5 bill, for example. If you have to change to another bus, you don't have to pay again. Your ticket is valid for 90 minutes. So how can you pay for a bus fare in Vancouver? Well, with either a travel card or cash. What does pay with exact change mean? It means that you have to have the exact amount. You can't have more or less than the amount that the fare is. And once you pay a bus fare, how long can you travel on the buses in Vancouver? For 90 minutes. So we use can for permission. We use can to show you are allowed to do something. So dogs can play in this park. Dogs are allowed to walk here. Dogs can't go on the beach. Dogs aren't allowed on the beach. Remember that we use can for ability also. My dog can run very fast, so that's another use of the modal can. It can either be for permission or for ability, depending on the context. All right, so now complete these statements using can or can't. You can pause the video And try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, you can't visit John now. Visiting hours are between 9 and 5. Please come back tomorrow morning. You can bring dogs to this park, but they require a leash. Sorry, but I can't talk with you now. I'm in an important meeting. Jane's mom is not happy with Jane's score in the last test, so she can't come to our party. You can pay cash for a bus fare between 9 and 3. Outside the hours, please use a travel card. In Sydney, you can't smoke on the beaches. It is not allowed. You can't eat food or drink on this bus. You will be fined if you eat. Celia has her own business, so she can choose the hours that she works. Now read about using the bus in Bangkok and answer the questions. In Bangkok, Thailand, you have to buy your ticket on board the bus. You can't buy it beforehand. Additionally, you have to pay in cash. You don't have to have the exact amount of money, but it's a good idea to have small change ready. Bangkok is famous for its traffic jams, so try to avoid traveling during peak hours if you can. So what are the two compound nouns? So we have traffic jam and peak hours. Two sentences show something is necessary. Which sentences are they? So you have to buy your ticket, and you don't have to have the exact amount of money. Oh, sorry, that's one of the ones that is not necessary. So you have to buy your ticket and you have to pay in cash are the two things that are necessary. You can't buy it beforehand, and you don't have to have exact amount of money are the things that are not necessary. Now remember the use of have to and don't have to. We use have to show that something is necessary. You have to complete a bachelor's degree if you want to become a vet. Cindy has to study at least 3 hours each day. We had to leave at 7 p.m. to take a taxi to the airport. We use don't have to show a lack of necessity. You don't have to finish your homework tonight. You can do it tomorrow. He doesn't have to come to the meeting today because I spoke with him yesterday. So have to and don't have to. We're going to look at how we use have to and don't have to. So we have to for necessity. I have to clean the house. You have to eat more fruit. He has to do his homework. She has to exercise. We have to go to school, and they have to drink more water. And check your pronunciation of have to and has to. And then don't have to for the lack of necessity. I don't have to go to school today. You don't have to work tonight. He doesn't have to go to the meeting. She doesn't have to eat breakfast. We don't have to go to the lesson. They don't have to cook dinner. Remember that all native speakers use something like have to and has to in daily speech. All right, so now complete the sentences with the correct form of have to. In my city, you have to buy a ticket before you get on a bus. You can't buy a ticket on board. Quick, we have to leave the house immediately, or we won't get to the train station on time. We can wear t-shirts, jeans and a t-shirt to the office. We don't have to wear formal clothes. If you want to become a lawyer, you have to study law for 5 years. The doctor said that I have to eat more vegetables and exercise regularly. I would like Jeremy to come to the meeting, but it's his decision. He doesn't have to come. I've bought my plane ticket, but now I have to apply for a tourist visa to visit Turkey. You don't have to bring anything to the party. I have already organized food and drinks. Now complete the sentences with the correct option and answer the questions. We don't use a contracted form of have to. We always say I have to and never I've to. Okay, so in Stockholm, Sweden, you can't you can't buy a ticket on the bus. You have to get one before you get on. With all single tickets, you can travel as much as you like until the ticket expires after 75 minutes. If your trip involves changing busage, you have to make the final change before the ticket expires. Now you can complete the text by filling in the blanks with the words from the boxes. London, England is famous for its red double-decker buses. In London, you can't pay your bus fare with cash. You have to use a prepaid travel card. Once you touch your travel card on the card reader, you can make unlimited bus journeys for the next hour without paying again. In Budapest, Hungary, you have to buy and validate your ticket before getting on the bus. Don't forget, if a ticket inspector catches you without a validated ticket, you will have to pay a fine. You don't have to pay it on the spot, but if you don't make the payment within 2 days, you will have to pay twice as much. So here are more compound nouns. So it says match two words to make a compound noun for each sentence, or for each picture, sorry, for each image. So A would be stop sign, B would be traffic, let's see, looks like traffic signal. I don't see traffic signal or oh, traffic light. Here we go, traffic light. C would be pedestrian crossing. D would be bicycle lane. E would be speed limit. And D would be bicycle helmet. All right, Thomas talks about getting around in Vancouver, so we'll listen and complete the text.
Vancouver is often ranked as one of the world's most livable cities. I moved here a couple of years ago, and there are lots of things I love about it. For a start, it's a great place to ride a bike. As you would expect, if you're riding a bike in Vancouver, you have to follow the same rules as if you're driving a car. You have to stop at stop signs and traffic lights if they're red. You have to give way at pedestrian crossings, and you can't ride your bike on the sidewalk. Additionally, you have to wear a bike helmet at all times and use lights on your bike if you're riding at night.
Okay, is it common for people to ride bikes in your city? And do you have to wear a bike helmet? And you can answer those questions in the comments. All right, so now you're going to complete the text with the compound nouns, and then when you're ready, restart the video to listen and check your answers.
One thing that sets Vancouver apart is the citywide network of bicycle lanes. There are a lot of streets which have designated bike lanes so that cyclists don't have to share the lane with motor vehicles. Some of the traffic lights even have bicycle signals which help to make the streets safer. Quiet neighborhood streets have very low speed limits to discourage drivers from using them, which allows bikers to have more places to ride.
Right, so then now you're going to complete the text with either can or have to, and then when you're ready, you can listen to check your answers. And you will need to use can for ability in two places in the text.
You can download a cycling map and then plan your route before you leave home. That way, you can stick to bike-friendly streets and you don't have to use roads where there is heavy traffic. For instance, I cycle to work during peak hours in the morning, but I never get stuck in a traffic jam. On top of that, in Vancouver, you can take your bike with you on the bus for free. You don't have to pay an extra fee. So if it's raining, or you just can't find the energy to cycle home, you can catch the bus.
All right, so now look at these signs and form a sentence using can or have to. So you have to stop, you have to detour, you can ride a bike, you cannot make a U-turn, you have to obey the traffic signals, you cannot go in the opposite way, you cannot enter, and you can't ride a bike, would be some examples. So imagine that a friend is coming to your town for the first time. Prepare a short speech to tell someone how to use the bus, the subway, or a bike where you live. And here's some questions to think about. What is a good way to get around town? Do you have to buy a ticket? When are peak hours? Can you use a travel card? And what other rules are there? And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, leave comments, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.